disease or a normal condition. Drugs can also affect how the brain and the rest of the body work and cause changes in mood, awareness, thoughts, feelings, or behavior. There are many types of drugs such as methamphetamine, cannabis, ecstasy, hallucinogens, cocaine, painkillers, inhalants, and heroin. According to the National Anti-Drug Agency (AADK), the statistic trend of detected drug addicts is quite worrying. But by the year 2020, the statistic trend of drug addicts is not that many compared to the previous year. The statistic of drug addicts due to the influence of friends in 2016 was 17,990 cases and decreased to 8,893 cases in 2020. The statistic of drug addicts due to curiosity in 2016 was 5,618 cases and decreased to 4,723 cases in 2020. The statistic of recreational drug addicts in 2016 was 3,944 cases and decreased to 2,428 cases in 2020. The statistic of drug addicts due to mental stress in 2016 was 1,910 cases and increased to 2,764 cases in 2020. Others include aggressiveness based on work, entertainment, lack of religious education, financial problems, abuse, medicine, sex, persecute, no knowledge about the dangers of drugs to study, and so on. Apart from that, the statistic of drug addicts suffering from pain in 2016 was 698 cases and increased to 1,161 cases in 2020. The statistic of drug addicts due to stimulation in 2016 was 145 cases and increased to 177 cases in 2020. The last one, the statistic of accidental drug addicts in 2016 was 17 cases and decreased to 8 cases in 2020. There are many benefits that can be obtained through the use of drugs. First, fights bacterial infections. Your doctor may be prescribed an antibiotic for things like strep throat or an ear infection. Antibiotic work either by killing bacteria or halting their multiplication so that the body's immune system can fight off the infection. Next, lowering blood pressure. As people get older, they sometimes develop chronic or long-term conditions. Medicines can help control things like high blood pressure, hypertension, or high cholesterol. These drugs don't cure the underlying problem, but they can help prevent some of these body-damaging effects over time. Lastly, it can immunizations. This keeps people from getting sick in the first place by immunizing or protecting the body against some infectious disease. Vaccine usually contain a small amount of an agent that resembles a specific germ or germ that has been modified or killed. So, someone have been vaccinated, it primes the body's immune system to remember the germ, so it will be able to fight off infection by that germ in the future.
Contraband in court. Atlanta rapper Young Thug is already facing a slew of RICO charges, but now there are new allegations against him and a fellow YSL defendant. Here's what happened. This is video we received from court. Take a look at the part we highlighted. You see the man walking up. Watch for this exchange right there. According to the court motion, Young Thug's fellow defendant Khalif Adams passed Percocet to Young Thug under the guise of that handshake that happened right in front of the entire courtroom. Adams is serving a life sentence for murder. Right after what you saw there, court documents say law enforcement immediately moved in to search Adams, who resisted. But once they searched him, the documents say they found more contraband, including Percocet, marijuana, and tobacco all wrapped in plastic and food seasonings to mask the smell. The court documents go on to say officers thought Adams swallowed even more contraband, so they rushed him to Grady Hospital. They say court had to be delayed for the rest of the day.
Next, I will talk about cons of drugs. There has 3 cons of drugs that I want to highlight. The first one is you will get a physical health problem when you take the drugs. For example, you will get skin disease when you use drugs excessively. You will also get disturbed emotional problem when taking drugs. This is because drugs will make you addict and you're not able to use them. And the last con is the abuse of this drug will harm society. It happens when drugs addicts need money and are willing to hurt community to get money to buy drugs. And then I will talk about the factor of drug abuse. First factor is family history of addiction. Addiction of drugs from family can make their siblings to follow it. That causes children to be easily neglected and easily affected by this unpleasant system. The wrong choice of friends will encourage you to follow that bad deeds. The last factor is the person takes drugs excessively. This will cause a person to become addicted to drugs.
A former beauty queen was charged at the Petaling Jaya Magistrates Court on Friday with punching a policeman and drug abuse. Kohino Damodaran Kaitiani, who was a Miss Universe Malaysia 2015 finalist, pleaded not guilty to both charges before Magistrate Zafran Rahim Hamza. The 29-year-old was accused of using criminal force by punching Corporal Sharul Arifin Samadan near Jalan University at about 3 a.m. on July 8. Charged under Section 353 of the Penal Code, she faces up to 2 years in jail or a fine or both upon conviction. Kohino was also accused of abusing the drug tetrahydrocannabinol at the Petaling Jaya Police Headquarters at 2 p.m. on the same date. For this offence, she faces up to 5 years in jail and a 20,000 ringgit fine if found guilty. The court set bail at 3,000 ringgit for both charges and fixed October 6 for mention. During the same proceedings, Kohino's friend 33-year-old Kwek Shen Ting pleaded not guilty to abusing drugs at the same place and time. The court set bail at 1,500 ringgit and fixed October 1st for mention. It was reported that the two women were high on alcohol and drugs when they were arrested by police after crashing through a roadblock on the Federal Highway early Thursday morning.
For the solution to reduce a drugs abuse is tighten the law. For example, government can make fines to persons that drugs addicts and drugs dealers. This can reduce the symptom from continuing to occur. Next is the solution from education. It doesn't matter from school or NGO that can make people more concerned about these things. And the last one is establish a rehabilitation center. This can rehabilitate all exciting drugs addicts in Malaysia. For the conclusion, drugs has their own advantage and disadvantage, especially in hospitality parts. Drugs also can give many bad effects. What seems clear in our eyes is that drugs will only bring disease to us. Society will not able to be comfortable because of the social problem from drugs addicts. So, all parties must use drugs wisely to make sure all of things from drugs is good.
Prescription drug abuse is a major health epidemic in the U.S. Some 50 Americans die each day from prescription painkiller overdoses. Overdose deaths involving prescription painkillers have quadrupled to 16,000 since 1999, and now outnumber those from heroin and cocaine combined. As prescription drug abuse has increased, so has the need for treatment. But only 1 in 10 Americans with a substance abuse disorder receives treatment. Drug overdose deaths, the majority of which are related to prescription drugs, are now the #1 cause of injury death in the U.S., surpassing car accidents. Learn how your state is preventing misuse.